Nigeria hasn't always justified the faith of its people, but there comes a time when you are pushed to the wall and there's nowhere to go but up.
If we just decide in our hearts that we want to believe in Nigeria and we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
This is our dream, and a new Nigeria is that dream that we so much seek and desire.
The destiny of Nigeria is in our hands. We are the country. The country is us.
We are Nigeria.
We are that turning point generation. We are Nigeria. We are the future.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way of the land of our dreams. We are the nation, we are part of this. Oh, oh. We are the nation, we are part of this. Whoa. Raise your hands in the air if you believe the future has come now. The future is here. The future is here. This is our country. The future is here. The future has come.
The future is not a time zone that is yet to come. The future is everything that we can be but have not yet become. The future is everything that we can do but have not yet done. The future is here. The future is now. So go ahead and deliver the future, because you can, because you must. Together we will.
Hello, good evening. I'm excited to welcome you to the Raising Girls Weekly tonight. Instagram is buzzing, Facebook and YouTube are buzzing. I want to welcome you tonight. I'm excited to have you join me tonight. So let me say hello to some people that I can see from Instagram. Welcome, Rosaline. Welcome, Dre Girl. Welcome, Shalsi Kadiri. You were the first person online tonight. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Tonight is going to be an exciting show, and for everyone watching me from YouTube or Facebook, you need to give StreamYard permission for me to be able to see your name, so that when you make a comment, I can see it. So if you're just joining us right about now, do you want to tell me where you're joining from? Give me a heads up how your week has been. How's your week been? How are you doing health-wise? How's business? How's family? Give me a heads up. Let me know where you're joining in from. I'd like to know if you can hear me very clearly. All right, can you hear me now? All right, so if you can hear me now, let me know. So people use, yeah, you can't hear me. Hey, not this night, oh, not this night. Can you hear me now? I have taken off what was stopping the sound, oh. Please confirm if you can hear me. Say I can hear you. If you can hear me, just type I can hear you. This night we are going to talk. Last week, network wanted to do some funny stuff, but tonight we're going to have fun. Woo! Vivi's online. Thank you, Joma, for coming tonight. Thank you so much. So please, if you can hear me, let me know. Yeah, you can hear me now. Fantastic. So this night, every third Friday of the month, I want to just sit down and let's talk. Ask me questions as practical as possible, and we just talk about raising girls. Deal? We just talk about raising girls. So I already have a few questions that have come up already, and I don't want to waste time because it's already 10 minutes past 7. Remember, we always have a deal. When I'm talking too fast, which is something I'm working on. Welcome, Idowa Jeremy. Thank you for joining tonight. So because I have the tendency to talk really fast, please help me, help a sister. When I'm going too fast, I need you to just drop a comment and say, too fast, and I'll get the cue, all right? Too fast, and I'll get the cue. So I already have some questions coming in. I'm just going to start looking at them in a moment, all right? I already have some questions coming in. Yeah, I like the questions that have come in. I'm going to keep the questions as practical as possible. Some of the questions have started showing me something I've always suspected, but then it's great because then we get to have real conversations, all right? So let me see if my screen is ready to go. I want to keep this really small, all right? No, not really. I don't want it to enter full screen, all right? So good evening once again, everyone. Don't worry, Instagram people, you're not missing anything much. I'll just read out the questions tonight and we'll just take it from there, all right? So first and foremost, this show is about raising 10 over 10 girls. And you could easily ask, so who is a 10 over 10 girl? And I said it last week, that a 10 over 10 girl is a girl who places the right value on God, herself, the people around her, and her environment. Again, 10 over 10 girl places the right value, underline the word right value, on God, herself, the people around her, and her environment. On God because his source of her identity. On herself, because then we address issues around self-esteem. Then we talk about the people around her, the right relationship with parents, siblings, friends, relatives, neighbors, having that sense of awareness about who is around her and what she does in each relationship with everyone, essentially just being a smart kid. All right. And then her environment, how she interacts with her environment. Your daughter goes to school, they ask a question, she knows the answer. Does she have the confidence to get up and say it, or she's self-conscious and not responding as she's supposed to? She's shrinking, she's too shy, she's too self-conscious. So those are all the kind of conversations we have here every Friday, so that together we can raise a 10 over 10 girl. I want you to know something, that raising a 10 over 10 girl is a continual journey. It's a journey. We keep doing it. We keep doing it until it's our daughter's turn to raise their own 10 over 10 girls. So we're still on this journey. All right. So let me start with the first question that has come tonight. I'm excited for this Q&A night because we've got a number of questions, and those of you watching live can also send questions and I'll be able to see them. I'll be able to answer them. So what I'll do is I'll look at the questions on my screen and periodically come back to the live stream to see whether there's any question on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. All right, deal. So let me go to the very first question for tonight. Yeah, I've talked about what to expect already. So we're going to just talk. We're just going to talk. Meanwhile, let me ask for a quick favor. I'm appealing to you to please share the link to this class. Share the link to this class. It will make a big difference. Share the link, please. Share the link. Get your family, friends, and cousins. Copy the link of the Instagram thread and put it on your WhatsApp status and get people to join in to be a part of this conversation. If your husband is close by or is somewhere where you can access internet, get your husband, get your wife to be a part of tonight's conversation. It's going to be as practical as possible. And if while we are having a conversation, you have an insight, you can also drop it on the live stream. And yeah, my name is Irene Bangwell, and it's always my honor to welcome you to Raising Girls Weekly every Friday night. All right. So let's go to the first question. The very first question I got. Okay, the very first question I'm capturing tonight is about a mother who said that she has a 13-year-old daughter who lacks interest in her academics. She has a 13-year-old daughter who lacks interest in her academics. So first and foremost, I'm going to be talking to you today as a coach. In answering this question, I'm going to be talking to you as a coach, and I'm going to be talking to you as an educator. So let me see. Hey, mommy, welcome. I've been waiting to see your comment. Thank you for joining us all the way through YouTube and everything. All right. So this woman says she has a 13-year-old daughter who is not interested in her academics. I'm going to say a number of things, and I need you to come with me. So the first thing I'm going to say is, what is the approach with which academics is communicated or done in your house? Is homework always a chore? Fighting, complaining, threatening? Because if something children are a part of is a source of pain, it can make them lose interest. That's one. I'm going to tell you different possible reasons. Not one is exactly like, it's not cast in stone. All right. So all you need to do is now do a personal reflection to say, which one is it for my daughter? So number one, if school has been synonymous with, taunting, shaming, all kinds of things from home or from school, it can be a very discouraging thing for a child. That's number one. Number two, if a child is being bullied at school, being shamed at school, feels odd at school, they will not warm up to school. I mean, as parents, we need to not just think about what our children are doing, look at what is feeding it. So if your child is being taunted at school, they may not look forward to being a part of the school system. Number three, if you have someone in your home who humiliates or talks down on their education experience, your child is going to catch it on. Sometimes we have relatives and cousins who move into our house and they make jokes about, see this one that is a musician that hit how many million, how many school did they go? It's not by school, it's not by this, it's not by that. Those kind of socializations also affect children. So if your daughter is 13 and is losing interest in school, is there someone in your space that humiliates or talks down on the schooling experience? Do you yourself talk low on the schooling experience? Number four, is your daughter struggling at school? Does she have academic challenges, that she keeps doing her best, but she doesn't see the result? Then I'll also ask, is this what she used to be before, or did this happen suddenly? Because for a 13-year-old, if this is a sudden thing, did she have a crush at school who didn't respond to her, who was shamed in the process. She's associating her entire learning experience to that event. So getting through to know what the problem is, listening to her without judgment is the very first critical step to take. You see, I've lined up a whole lot of possibilities on this matter. So sitting down with her to talk it over will make a big difference. Now, after you start, you talk to her, something else comes to mind. Some of us didn't start out running structured system for our children's education. When I mean structured, you didn't show seriousness, you didn't go to PTA, you didn't look over their homework. So they were building habits towards not being disciplined about schoolwork, right? So you used to be in a house that you're going to pack, arriving school compound. That's when your child is bringing out notebook to write homework. And you hurry up. Maybe you even call the teacher and lie that, we weren't around when this happened. I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm trying to show you other things that can make children lose interest in their education. So if they've not had a disciplined mindset towards education, when they get older and become teens, it's not important because it's not habitual. But if right from time, you're a parent that looks through their schoolwork, supervises their schoolwork, you show up for PTA, you listen to them. When they have a need, you work with them to find a solution to it. They tend to ascribe importance to it. And this is why I talk about parents who go to schools to shame teachers. If you're disappointed at a teacher's action, you should go to school to have a meeting. But if you're dramatic about it, your daughter or child lumps up the entire education experience into how you treat it. So I've said several things: environmental influence, failure at school, taunting at school, the puberty setting and an action is being surrounded by it. Is there someone who talks down on education? Did you fail to build strong habits about her learning? All of these are all part of it. But most important thing to do is go and have a conversation with her and know what it is that the whole thing is about. And this time, go with the mind of listening. And when you listen, when you finish listening to her and you guys come up with a plan, or you get a feedback from her that you don't know what to do with, just DM me. All right, just DM me. I'll be able to help. Find out what the root cause is. So I've told you different things, from influence at home to lack of discipline habit towards schoolwork, to puberty interruptions, to someone living in the house that talks very flimsily about education. Whatever it is, just have a conversation with her and get back to me. DM me and tell me what's up, and I'll be happy to help. All right. I'm sure I don't know if you know this, but I've written a book about how parents can work with their kids to make it through school. It's called Back to School Success Kit. Now, Back to School Success Kit is currently free on Okada Books. If you go on Okada Books, that book is free. If you want to buy the e-copy or the hard copy, you can still DM me. But that book, so that you don't say you didn't have money today. If you're the one struggling with your child and schoolwork, get on the link in my bio. You see a link to my Okada bookstore. Back to School Success Kit is free on Okada. That book is free. So go and learn how to up your children's school game so that you get the best out of them. You know, I'm not of that school of thought that children can be non-academic. I feel that give your children everything, solid education, solid skills, so that they have options as they grow up in life, all right? So if you're out here, your children are struggling in school, you cannot be on Parenting Champions or following Raising Girls and your children are struggling in school. I have a book for you. It's totally free on Okada Books. So get on Okada Books, click the link in my bio on Instagram. And if you're watching on Facebook, go on Instagram, look for raisinggirls.ng, click the link in my bio. It will lead you to my Okada bookstore. Back to School Success Kit is free on Okada. All right. I know why I put it free, because education is very critical for our children. All right. So I have a second question here where someone sent in this question, says, my daughter has a classmate who pushes her around, says really mean things to her. How do I talk to my daughter about speaking up for herself? As life would have it, I've had this same situation before. You know, my children grew up in a home where we're talking to them about being thoughtful towards others. Welcome, Abuja Meet Sharing. Anything for the weekend? Thank you for joining us on Instagram. Thank you, Favored B. So this particular question is somewhat personal to me. Having a daughter pushed around by her friends, how do you talk to her about speaking up for herself? So I've had two scenarios like this. My first daughter was about 6 or 7. She's always been very She loves to write stories or do coloring. So there's always 20 leaves in my house to be able to help them express those things. So she will do these write-ups and stuff, take it to school, and one boy will pick it up, put it in the trash, and she'll be sad. She'll come home, she'll sulk for me and all of that. She'll sulk for me. Okay, someone has said, okay, so here's the thing. If you're watching me and you would like to share the link to this thread, all right, on your social media, please go to my Facebook page, Irene Bangwell Raising Girls Coach. That's where the link is. Or you share the YouTube channel link, which is youtube.com/Raising Girls with Irene Bangwell. All right. So next time I'll be putting that link in case people want to share on the live thread so that people can share it. All right. So I was trying to say that my daughter used to do this artwork, write stories, and this boy, who was her friend, they'll just minimize the thing. If it was in a plain sheet, they'll pack it, put it in the trash, and she'll come home and sulk. And one day I called her, I said, I need you to go back to school. She asked me to come and talk to her teacher. I said, no, you didn't have a problem with your teacher. You have a problem with your mate. So when you go back to school, go and tell them that that artwork is important to you and they should never put it in the trash again. I came back from work. She ran up to me and said, Mommy, I spoke up to them. I told them to never trash my stuff again because it was important to me and it's my stuff and all of that. And that was the end of it. And then we moved to a new school. My second starts to have the same problem. I mean, she has a friend in school, someone she's close to. And because these children are being raised in an environment where you say, be thoughtful, be kind, don't use harsh words on your friends or people around you, show respect, they tend to show up where other kids may not have those value systems. And those kids, I mean, they just behave anyhow. So my daughter will come back and talk about a friend saying that because she wears earrings, she's likely to go to hellfire. And in my head, I'm like, well, should you really tell your child of that age? But then I'm not in a position to tell a parent what to tell the child or not. I don't know what their religious persuasions are. So, but I noticed that there was a lot of mean things coming from her. So one day I called her. She's 7, by the way. I just told her, look, girl, let's talk. Why is this person your friend? Tell me why. And she told me this, that. Not much, but because I'm trying to raise them to make sense of the people around them. So I asked her, are you comfortable with the way this person talks to you? She said, no, that's why she's worried. I said, so what are you going to do? She said she doesn't know what to do. That when she talks to their teachers ignore them, which I can understand because many times teachers are overwhelmed and we have to be realistic in our expectations. Sometimes teachers are lost in their own thoughts, marking this, grading this, following up this. They may not be able to. Can you imagine a class of 24 children reporting themselves to you? You're going to lose it at some point. So I told her, well, your teacher can't speak up for you. You have to speak up for yourself. And the simple thing was, go and tell her that you don't like it when she speaks to you like that. Okay, I think what really broke the camel's back was she said that when they're writing in class and she writes ahead of that friend, the girl will turn around, and both of them are 7. The girl will turn around and say, why are you writing? Why are you passing me in writing? I'm not going to be your friend again. So even my question is, what kind of home is that child growing up in with that kind of toxicity? All right. So, and I know to that, what do you mean by when you're writing, she's telling you not to go beyond her? I have a concern with that. So you need to go and speak up to her. And that day she came back from school. I said, what happened? She said, Mom, I spoke up to her. I told her I don't like it when she talks to me like that. I told her that I don't like it when I write and pass her, and she starts to tell me she'll stop being my friend. She said the girl stopped and apologized. And I tell you, I have seen an improvement. Why am I bringing up this story? Sometimes, because in our own humanity as adults, we don't realize that just raising your voice has an impact. Just telling people you don't need to tell people that you will slap them if they do it again. All you need to tell them is that I don't like it. I think you're disrespecting me and I don't want that to happen again. And these are one of the things that we need to pass on to our girls. The ability to speak and articulate how they feel on issues without fear or favor. Because we're used to swallowing things, and we don't realize it that we pass it on to our children. So one of the things I want to be able to pass on to my girls is the ability to articulate themselves without necessarily being toxic and being, just being abusive, because I'm not for children, whether girls or boys, speaking disrespectfully to anybody. All right. So if you're here and you can see me, you can hear me, tell me what you've learned so far. I've answered 2 questions already. I've answered 2 questions about a girl who is not showing a lot of interest in school. I've answered the question about the girl who is not speaking up. All right. All right. So tell me what you can hear. Tell me what you've heard so far. One sentence, one liner, whether you're watching from Instagram or from Facebook. What have you heard? Yes, you've heard speak out. So teach your girls to speak out. Speak out, speak up. Teach your girls to speak out, speak up. Because you knew how to swallow. You know, when we're growing up, our own was that you should swallow till you die. Thank you for all the hearts coming on Instagram. Thank you so much. We grew up being told that we will swallow and swallow and swallow. A good woman tolerate. It's not supposed to be that. So why don't we raise a generation where everybody respects everybody? So that you don't need to trample on me, and they now use your trampling to measure my own resilience. It shouldn't be so. So I'm teaching my girls to speak up. Speak up for things you're not comfortable with. And the speaking up is not happening at home. It's not happening at school. It starts at home. Let your girls be able to speak up when they're not comfortable about something you did. Because you can't stifle them at home and expect them to speak up at school. It won't happen. I remember the day my daughter walked up to me and said that when she shows me her artwork and I say cool, that it sounds to her like I'm not really interested. Meanwhile, I'm thinking that cool means yay. And cool is my subconscious reaction. So when she gave me that feedback that, oh, when I say cool, it means to her that I'm not paying attention. Well, I made an adjustment. So I'm going to ask you, yeah, I'm using daughters in question because boys are boys. Boys know how to talk already. But I'm asking you, can your daughter speak up to you when they are not comfortable? Because if they can speak up to you when they're not comfortable, they'll be able to speak up to a classmate. So that's why we say charity begins at home. You don't expect a child that you shout on and you scold that shrinks and shrinks and shrinks at home to go and express herself out there. Just 2 days ago, my daughter was coming into my bedroom. I asked her to bring me my laptop bag. Very annoying situation. And I bought a new laptop bag. The day I went there, I didn't see these solid laptop bags that are padded and everything. It was just very, very thin bag. So anytime I carry it, I don't just drop the bag anyhow because that would be my laptop. So as I was talking to her about, be careful, drop it on this thing, she had landed it on the floor. I was so upset. I asked her, why would you drop it on the floor? You know, I just went on and then told her to leave, to go to her room. About an hour later, I was coming out to do something in the kitchen. She walked up to me and said, Mommy, by the time you were telling me to drop your bag, I was dropping it at the time you were saying it. So I lost control. I couldn't have done that deliberately. That same day. So I looked at her and said, you're right. It's okay. It's okay. I was just concerned about my laptop. Her younger sister now say, Mommy, did you check the laptop? Is it still okay? I'm just telling you that if your daughters cannot speak up to you at home, even sometimes when maybe daddy said something to them, they come to me to start saying, why did daddy decide on this? Why did daddy? I said, go to daddy and talk to him and negotiate with him. Go and talk to him. Because I know that if they can talk towards their parents, who is out there that they can't talk to? There's nobody that they can't talk to. Do you understand? If they can calm down, for her, I was impressed that an hour or maybe 30, 45 minutes after that incident, that she was able to articulate herself. That means even though she knew I was upset with her, she still knew that she could talk about it. She didn't need to wait till my face is straight. She still knew she could talk about it. So if you want your girls to speak up, charity begins at home. Let them be able to speak up at home. That's why I don't tolerate mates that make it look as if they are the omola. The girl should be able to ask you questions and talk to you and tell you what they're not comfortable with. I'm teaching them respect, so they're going to say it respectfully, but the expression still needs to happen. So let me read some of the comments I'm seeing here. Ijoma said, my girl should speak up herself without any fear of favor, right? And I'm saying, yeah. So people have sent me their one-liners. Maume says, the culture of silence must stop. I have someone else here saying, speak up about the things you're not comfortable with. We should teach our girls to speak up. We should teach our children to speak up. So Ivy said, I'm watching from Facebook. Your daughter can air her views without being rude. Yes. Get to know that part. Children can air their views without being rude. So the question is, Teach them to air their views without being rude. Understand? The underlying word is they have to air their views. They have to, I mean, they have to air their views. That's very paramount. All right. So let me go to the third question for tonight. If you're enjoying what's happening here, leave it in the comment that you're enjoying, you're getting value. Let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me know you're enjoying, you're getting value, you're taking something away. I really like the Q&A night because I'm not sounding all theoretical. It's practical. You can take it, you can use it, and all of that. So let me know if you're getting value from this experience already. Oh, yeah. Ivy says if we want our girls to speak up outside, they should be able to speak to us at home. Fantastic. That's it. So the next question I'm answering tonight while waiting for your comments on Instagram. If you're still here, touch that heart button. Let me know you're still here. You're hearing me and you can hear me very clearly. I'm enjoying this story night already, this Q&A night already. Yeah, children can air their views without being rude. Yes, they can. So I have a question here where someone is saying, how do I help my daughter learn that cleaning her personal space and being responsible is important? I like this question. How do I help my daughter learn that cleaning her personal space and being responsible is important? So this question here is a very interesting one. Many people say that by the time children get into puberty, there's a tendency to have untidy rooms, untidy spaces, and so on and so forth. I think they might have some psychology and research to back that up, but I want to tell you something, that habits are not difficult to break. It means that if your child as a younger person had formed the habit of keeping their personal spaces clean and tidy, I don't see how puberty will interrupt that pattern. I don't see that at all. In fact, talking to you now, I remember this classmate of mine. I've been thinking about her the whole week. She passed on a few years ago. Her name was Rebecca. For my classmates, when I say this story, they will relate. She was so organized. She was so neat. So if it's a sweeping reality of puberty, it shouldn't be for some and not for others. While I don't know much about how puberty can make girls become dirty, I do know that we can help our girls form the right habits. We can help our girls form the right habits. So from the time children are 3 years old and 4 years old, before the hormonal interaction of puberty that makes them think they're adult kicks in, you're supposed to start forming certain habits around cleaning, about hygiene, washing their undies. That's why even if you have a help, there has to be things that helps don't do for your girls. Otherwise, even for your boys, otherwise, when helps are no longer there, or when they're too old and helps find it offensive to serve them, they're going to have a problem. They're going to have a problem. I'm telling you. So build habits from when children are really young. Oh, somebody's saying, thank you for the story you just told. I'm glad to know that my reaction to a recent incident with my daughter was right. I was doubting myself at a point. Oh, well done, Rosalie. Well done, sis. I know these things happen. We do some things. You have the gut feeling is right, but parenting guilt wants to kick in. It's okay. Well done. So I'm talking about helping your daughter before she becomes a teenager deal with all the shenanigans about living in dirty rooms. If you've been following me on social media for a long time, you know that I am for start early. I said every time your child turns a new age, there has to be something you used to do for them that they now do for themselves. If at 3, you used to bring their food to the table for them to eat, by the time they turn 4, they should take their tray to the kitchen and wash their hands by themselves. There is a time they should clean their butts by themselves. There's a time they need to wash their own dishes by themselves. I mean, do you know that by 6 a.m. most mornings, myself and my daughters were already on our way to school, but they still have morning chore. They still clean the puppy. We come back from school, they have homework to do, but they wash their uniforms. They wash their pants, they wash their socks. I'm deliberately doing these things because I want the habits to build, right? But when you now have a teenager that is grown, and is untidy, it's time to have a self-esteem conversation. In home economics, one of the things I like to tell children when we're looking at their curriculum work is that your body is the first house you live in. So if you love yourself, love your body. Love what you wear on your body. Treat yourself like a queen. Start with teaching her about self-esteem from that perspective. Number 2, build a routine for that child. Build a routine for her to follow that you supervise religiously. If you're listening to me, you're not sure how to have that conversation, build the routine. All you need to do is register for One Parenting Plan Away. I'll talk about it later. Vivian Okoye and I are putting together something, One Parenting Plan Away. Whatever parenting challenge you have, it's a plan away. You can build a routine and get that girl to follow religiously. Like in my house, the class supervisor for morning chores is daddy. So while I'm busy fixing breakfast and preparing lunch bag, daddy is planning how, daddy is supervising. Did you clean so they clean the puppy's kennel, pack all the litter, the feces and stuff, and put in the trash, wash their hands, and they do it joyfully because they're starting on before puberty. That's why I tell you that things you shouldn't wait until your children are older. When they're older, puberty interrupts the learning process. All right, so that's it. Start early if your children are younger. If your children are already here, have the self-esteem talk where you're asking, do you know that your body is a temple? Do you know that your body is prestigious? Do you know that the pants that you wear under you, if there are germs inside, they go directly into your system and they make you sick? But talk about it from the esteem point of view. If you don't even know how to have this conversation, in the Parenting Champions group on Facebook, I taught a video. I held a webinar here where I talked about communicating for buying. Go and look for that video, communicating for buying. Watch it thoroughly. If you need like help to just straight up jump into it, register for One Parenting Plan. But again, I have a free webinar you can check out. All right. So let me look at the next question we have here. If you're listening to us and you think you have a question that you can ask, quickly throw it in. So Ivy Obunde says here, hey, Esther's baby turned 3 today. So what are we taking out from him? Let him wear his socks by himself for now, or herself. All right, so Ivy says, I learned this from you. And my 22-month-old is an amazement to everyone with the way she takes care of her personal effect. Yes, children, they're like clean slate. There's so much you can nurture. If you're waiting for them to do it by themselves, it may not work. But with habits, make it habitual. Make it habitual. So for instance, in the last 1 year, I've not had a stable help since August last year, and I was setting up a school project. I mean, so many things. Sometimes it really gets crazy. My husband just keeps reminding me that, baby, we're doing this for the girls. They need to get used to it. And 2021 is my first daughter's year of learning how to cook. Chef T to the rescue. Is going to be her year of learning how to cook. We have to do these things before puberty kicks in, because puberty is crazy. So you want your daughters having a higher level of logic before all the shenanigans of puberty comes. All right, so that's it. All right, next question. Someone says her daughter is moody and very hostile to her siblings. What do I do? Who has this kind of challenge? My husband just walked in. Hey baby, welcome back. All right, so who has this kind of challenge? You have a moody teenager. There's a movie that my children love called Sing, and they'll say, moody teenager coming through. I know there's a lot of things are happening during puberty, but it's my hope that we have enough relationship, enough critical thinking, enough logic in store prior to puberty so that our children can navigate teenage years differently. However, I have also had experience of children who are not yet teenagers, that they're twins, they're preteens who are moody and very hostile to their siblings. Many times, these children are first daughters. So we're going to talk about the first daughter drama, all right, and how to deal with it. So first and foremost, first daughters have an exaggerated sense of responsibility. Even us parents put them under that pressure. You're responsible for your this, you're responsible for that, you're responsible for that, you're responsible for that. So after a while, they have a wrong definition of seniority. Sometimes they're not even first daughters. Maybe there's a long space between them. Maybe you have an older child that is way older and off. Then you have these two that their age group is close. So you're asking the other one in school, did you look out for her? Did you do this? So they become small mothers too early. So rebellion kicks in. First, they're angry that they are being held responsible for what their younger ones are doing. Secondly, the leadership over them is not usually empathetic or empathic towards them. The understanding that we give to the younger one, we don't give it to the first daughter. So they are angry. We don't make the same considerations. So those are some things we need to start adjusting. Every time I've had to deal with kids who have sibling rivalry issues, I do two things. Number one, I try to audit the kind of leadership that is around them. What are we parents modeling as seniority? So if you model seniority as sending them on errands aimlessly, shouting on them when they do wrong, they assume that that's what it means to be in leadership. And so they turn around to the nearest person around them and they pour that model of leadership on that person. So to check sibling rivalry, I want to check the parents first. Not by them. I'm not talking about temperament. I'm talking about the perspective of modeling, where you're modeling that adults talk to children like this. Adults talk like this. That's number one. Number two, are we putting the first daughter under an exaggerated stuff? So we deal with that. Then number three, I like to use empathy as a concern. There's something I always tell my first daughter. I say you lead people. You inspire them to take actions. You don't push them. You let your younger one admire you enough to follow you. You don't push her around. All right? You talk things through. If someone did this to you, would you like it? Is this how you want to be treated? Is this how you want to? I start bringing all of those things in check. And then I hold them accountable. Like, can we go a day without doing this? Can we go without doing that? The other thing also is when there's a misunderstanding, I don't carry hammer to nail the first one. Meanwhile, you're using kids' love to deal with the second. I speak truth, bias-free, prejudice-free. And let me share this with you. Sometimes we think that we know our children. So we come home and they say something happened and we don't ask which child did what. We just run into blaming. Those things cause these things. So I take responsibility that when I come and something is happening, I ask, what happened? So that even the older child knows that mommy will give me fair hearing. Daddy will give me fair hearing. Because anything that makes it look as if you're harsher to one and not the other triggers hostility. But bottom line, look around the arrangement in your home. I remember one day I called my two daughters. I said, look, you're both responsible for each other. They were talking about making money. And one of them said, you make money and you spend on me. I say, no. She makes money, she spends on you. You make money, you spend on her. That uneven responsibility of telling one person to carry one person's load, it won't happen here. Because life is happening to everybody at the same time. So I'm starting them on early knowing that they need each other's help. They need each other's help. And I'm here to remind them that they need each other's help. So you have a daughter that is moody and very hostile to her siblings. So look at all those structures. Do you exaggerate when you're punishing her? Do you blame her for everything? Do you ask her to be responsible for everybody? All of those things. We can teach our daughters leadership without punishing them for other people's actions. So let me know if you, yes, all right. I love that. Supervise judiciously, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. So if you're hearing me, let me hear what you're hearing. I'd like to hear what you're hearing. So Toby said this is very insightful. Thank you so very much. Thank you. So I'm coming to, I think this must be my favorite question for the night. All right. So this question says, I think I may have criticized my daughter a lot. What do I do to reduce the impact of this on her? So there's a research that says that mothers and their daughters go like this, start fighting until the daughters become a mom. If you're following me, I'm hoping that I can work with you and support you so that that doesn't become your reality. We don't have the luxury of time to be fighting with our girls. There were girls that were fighting with their moms that when they left home, they never came back. Because here's the thing, they need us. So, but here's what I realized. As mothers, we have this unrealistic expectations of perfection from our daughters. We're not honest about. So, for example, when I started working on sex education for my girls, I had to be honest with myself. I had to think about myself when I was their age, the things I felt, the actions I took, and then from that empathy standpoint, mentor them. You have to be a parent who mentors. You have to be a parent who coaches. When your daughters make a mistake, it's better to sit with them and walk them through where the mistake happened, what must have led to it. So it's not unusual. My children tell me that I ask them questions a lot. When something goes wrong, before I start telling them what went wrong, I ask what happened at the point. I want to walk them through how not to make that mistake again. Being critical of our girls makes them shrink, makes them feel less, affects their self-esteem. A mother is asking me, what do I do to reduce the impact of this on her? Go and apologize. Go and apologize. Number one. Number two, ask her for feedback. Let her share with you what is on her mind. It doesn't matter any change you want to make. If you don't have a conversation that can hit her mind for her to know that you're making a shift, is a waste of time. So go and have a conversation with her and tell her, where did I miss it? Let me hear you. I'm not telling you to go and tell her that everything you said was wrong in the past. No. You may be right about the things you're saying, but your approach is wrong about it. So call and say, Bia, come and tell me what is on your mind. When I say this, I see that your face changes. What is on your mind? She will tell you. And when she tells you, collect the feedback. The feedback is a gift. Collect the feedback and use it. Then develop a plan on how you will stop the criticism you're always doing. But let me shock you. You're criticizing your daughter because you're criticizing yourself. You're judging yourself. You want yourself to be perfect, so you're projecting on your daughters. So I'm going to ask you that you mother constantly criticizing your daughter, go home and be kind to yourself. From the overflow of kindness to yourself, you'll be able to understand your child better. Your child will never be perfect, but your child needs to be corrected. Your child needs to be guided. But in order for correction and guidance to work, it has to be done in the atmosphere of love and support. Show children what they did wrong and how they can overcome it, instead of shaming them as if they live that. Don't define them by their mistakes. Don't label them by their mistakes. Stop getting on the phone to talk to all your friends about the mistakes they've made. You are their support system. That's why I say you must approach parenting from a problem-solving point of view. You have to have the mindset that when things happen, I'm going to position for what to do to resolve them. Then after a while, you grow to the point where you can preempt when a problem is going to happen and you go ahead. But you don't go around feeling like your children are the worst, your children have finished you. You go with the mind, every time a child makes a mistake or does something that is wrong, you should be asking, what is responsible for this? Is it ignorance? Is it carelessness? What support does my child need right now to make a better decision? The support can be consequence. The support can be withdrawal of privileges. But even when you're withdrawing privileges, you're doing it with the right motive. So you're not communicating it in a hateful, spiteful manner. So the problem is when it becomes hateful and spiteful, which it shouldn't be. All right, which it shouldn't be. All right, so let me know. I'm trying to read through the comments if you're hearing me. Someone says, how will I get my 3-year-old daughter to do things without saying the second time? I'm happy that you said, how do I get my 3-year-old? So let me give you this gist. There's a thing that for children to start doing certain things without being told, you have to say it 210 times. But you make it a song. When you make it a song, when you sing it like a rhyme, that you have to do it 7 times, it will put you're saying into something, you sing about it, You make a rhyme out of it. Like you want them to be brushing their teeth every morning when they wake up. When you're waking them up in the morning, you sing a rhyme and say, it's time to brush our teeth. Then don't work out, they'll brush their teeth, because psychology says that the brain of a child learns better when the instruction is presented as play. I'm coming to our last question, but I have a comment here. Said, my daughter asks lots of questions about everything I tell her. I have learned over the past months to have an explanation that is meaningful. Oh, sis, you should even write a book around that. You should be writing the questions she's asking you, to just enrich your perspective. Yes. Say something meaningful. And also, let me add a quick tip for you. Sometimes ask her why she wants to know. Maybe she has a conversation in her head already. You want to bring it out along with the conversation you're having with her. So I'm coming to the final question for tonight before I run through the threads. So we have a situation of a 14-year-old who has a child already. I mean, no parent wants to be in that boat. We have a 14-year-old, she has a child already. She's always threatening her parents to run away or commit suicide, and she's tried to do this before. So we have a situation. I don't know if the parents can look back to the very beginning, because if we can look back to the problem spotter, when did this girl change? Was this girl already like this as a child? Was she off the hook, uncontrollable as a child? Which I would say at that onset, it might be that she didn't get enough close guidance and supervision. What do her parents do for a living? If her parents are pretty busy people, that child is seeking attention, all right? But now she's 14, she already has a child, and I can imagine that she might be a source of shame to the family. So it's double wahala for both her and the mom and her parents, because her parents are going to shoo her a lot. They may not listen to her. It doesn't matter what they tell counselors, they will be resentful of her. And because she now knows that she's a point of embarrassment to the family, she's going to do worse. So if you're that parent that sent in this question, or know the parent that sent in this question, the blueprint is to have a real conversation with that child. The person that sent in this question asked that, will bonding activity work? No. They don't trust each other. So much has gone under the bridge. They don't just start with bonding. They start with talking. One day, mother to daughter, face to face, tell me what the problem is. They need to do that talk. They need to do that talk where everybody talks off their head. They need to steam out. The mother needs to say what it is. The daughter needs to say what it is. But I can imagine the mother has done most of the saying. So far, so good. So it's time for her to sit down, or the father, it's time for them to sit down and hear that girl out. That girl is hurting. That girl is broken. It doesn't matter the strength she shows outside. She's broken inside. She didn't want to have that child. It doesn't matter how it looks. And if she keeps threatening she wants to commit suicide, she's trying to escape from a certain reality. So we have to start with having that talk with her, where she talks off her head, she talks about the anger, and they manage to have a real conversation. How am I contributing to this feeling that you feel? How are you contributing to this feeling that you feel? When they're done with that, the very next step for them to do is try to rebuild that girl's self-esteem. So it means that parents have to start saying things deliberately. Parents have to start being honest by saying, you've made a mistake, but your life is not over. You've made a mistake, but your life is not over. You've made a mistake. You've made this decision. It's time for us to work towards a new set of reality for you, and help her begin to see herself in a different way. That girl has a self-esteem problem, and we can pitch it properly. We can help her by helping her redesign her own personal identity by herself. It's not going to be something her parents paint and give it to her. It has to be something that she comes to that realization. And it's going to come with a lot of talking. It's after they've come to common ground that bonding activities will make sense, all right? They have to come to common ground, all right? Yes, some of the things that they are going to do preliminary before she starts thinking of herself in a new light, which she will relapse sometimes, very, very normal, but I wouldn't call them bonding. I would call them, an environment where that girl can really say what is on her mind. All right. Yeah. So that girl will have to be able to voice out what is on her mind, and to her mom. She may say very ignorant things, but that's what she believes. That's what's on her mind. And in order to help her, we're going to have to help her navigate from that state of ignorance to a desired reality. All right. So, and then finally, I saw this question just as I was about going live. Someone says, what strategic steps can a parent take to build her daughter's self-esteem? All right, so this is going to be my last question for the day before I begin to wrap this up. If you enjoyed tonight's live session, leave me a comment, whether you're joining in from Instagram or Facebook and YouTube. Just leave me a comment. Meanwhile, let me stop here and tell you that next week is Girl Story Night. Girl Story Night. We're going to have women here who are raising girls or who grew up as girls tell us their own unique stories. So yes, I'm going to be bringing 2 women on ground next week, Friday. And for my amazing audience on Instagram, because of the interface of StreamYard and bringing two guests in, it's usually very difficult to have 2 devices going live at once. So Girl Story Night happens only on YouTube and Facebook. And I'm appealing to you, please, to just come join us and watch the live show either through Facebook or via Instagram, all right? So let me answer this question. Someone is asking, strategic steps a parent can take to build her girl's child self-esteem. So for me, the first step is telling myself that my girls are 10 over 10. I start by telling myself that I'm raising amazing girls. They have great destiny. They have great purpose. And they're awesome. And they're a gift to me. I say it so much to myself so that my relationship with my girls is built on the foundation that I absolutely believe in them. That I absolutely, absolutely, absolutely believe in them. All right? So I start with me, what I believe about my girls. So if I'm the one that keeps thinking, well, they're this, they're that, they could have been this, wrong number. So I have to feel satisfaction, joy, contentment that the girls that God sent to me, He sent to me, and they're a piece of gift, and I'm going to nurture them to become the best version of their lives. So when I think that way, I project it in the way I relate with them. I treat them like that. I talk to them like that. I expect, I demand a certain kind of, I demand a certain reality for them. I've not been seeing these comments, all right? Someone is saying, on this current question also, there's some light for parents to avoid getting to that point. Yeah, all right. I didn't know that Instagram was still on. The comments were going down. Oh, Worry Mom is watching from Instagram. Hey, sis. So I first believe in my girls, and I start to treat them like that. Someone says, okay, Irene, I believe in my girls. How do I treat them? So let me start from the very basic. So from the very point, I allow my children make decisions. I like them to contribute to decision-making process. I like to hear them out. I listen to them. I nurture the things that are important to them. So I watch for the things that matter to my girls, and I don't ignore them. Let me give you a critical example. My second daughter was turning 7 in September, and I knew the people she would really love to be around, but we weren't doing a party per se. I knew the people she really wanted to be around, and she had mentioned it that, oh, this is my friend. The COVID had been on for a really long time, so they were not hanging out. So she went, oh, should I really love for this to happen, really love for this to happen. And so she left. So she said her birthday wasn't up. I said, yeah, Mom is just going to buy you cake, we'll just celebrate at home and everything. But I planned a slumber party for her. Don't worry about the big English, all right? It was just 5 kids. They came to the house. I put the projector on the screen on, and they watched SpongeBob. I got Chef T. She did shawarmas for them, but I had them over for the weekend. So they were there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. They left on Monday. The school was still on vacation, all right? And she walked into my room and looked at me and said, she didn't know they were coming. And so when it was 5 p.m., I knew the families were beginning to arrive to drop their kids. And so I come in, and she's running to come and tell me that her best friend came. She said, Mommy, Anila came. Sabrina came. Did you know? Did you know? And then she looked at me. A month later, she still walked up to me to say, Mommy, thank you for doing all of that just for my birthday. Your daughters have to feel valued. So to build their self-esteem, they have to feel valued. You can tell them you love them, but you're not showing that you value them. So if my girls say something, so for instance, I said earlier, one of my daughters said, Mommy, when you say cool to my artwork, I don't think it's so good. I adjust because I'm trying to tell this human being that you are valuable. So I will listen to you. I will make considerations of you. I was moving to Kuje, to a different local government to go and start the school work. And I knew coming back home will be really late. So I called my husband and said, baby, I can't leave the kids in their former school. I'm going to take them to a school near where I work, so that the commute to and from work becomes bonding time. My children don't joke with that thing. It's a lot of work, but it shows them that I place value on them. So you can pay school fees, buy good clothes, take your children shopping, but you won't show them that you value them. It's possible. That value is one-on-one. They can communicate with you. You can give them feedback. Even when they do wrong, you correct them from, this is who you are now. You know, when I'm talking to my girls, I say, you're a leader now. You can't talk like that. This is when I'm angry and I'm still saying, you're a leader. You can't do that. So they understand that my mom places me at a prestigious place. At the same time, I told them, I'm your mom. I'm in this boat with you. When things get tough, you make a mistake, this is the number to call. Come back. Come back and talk to me about it. All right? When I'm putting my foot down for something to happen, my girls know off the top of their head that mom is doing this for our good. We've established that connection, that rapport. So that connection is where your children draw validation from. And then finally, let your kids speak up. And I want to bring a different perspective to this. There's a time when your girls are saying, mommy, they want you to say nice things to them. But you need to get them to the point where they are emotionally independent. So these kids are interesting. My second daughter has been responsible for washing the puppy's plates for some months. She washes the puppy's plate as if those plates is the dog that will eat it. And you know, it occurred to me to start telling her to wash the plate like she would normally wash. I left it. Then she started washing her school plate like puppy's plate. Then last night I called her. I said, baby girl, today, I have to say it in my dialect, today, you're going to wash that plate properly. I'm almost going to be here in the dining. I'm waiting for you. Go do it. Yeah, quality time rather than excess gifts and material things. Yes. She came back to me with the plate, and I thought I washed the plate. And I looked at her, I said, baby girl, take your time and do things well. I use that example so that if you think that in saying connect, love your kids and being patronizing, you have no idea. The standards in my home are the standards in my home. Nothing. You can't shift it because the standards are not sentimental standards. They're there for a reason. All right? So she went, washed the plate, came back, which is my point. And she said, mommy, what do you think? I started moving from what do I think to what do they think? Because I want to get them used to not needing other people's validation. So I told her, look at the plate. What do you think? She put her hand, ran it through the edges of the plate to look for oil stains. That means she knows the parameter. Not opinion, she knows the parameter. She's 7. She knows the standard for measuring clean plate. It's not by what I say. What if I'm not at home? She put her hand, she ran through it and said, mommy, I think I did a good job. I say, if you say so. And so I was saying, what if they start doing anyhow? Because he said, if you say no, if they start doing anyhow, we'll come back and say, did you do what they say? Yes. I say, how do you know that you did well? Walk me through how you know that you did well. Because, you know, I keep telling you people, raise thinking girls. Raise thinking girls, all right? Whatever you do, get your girls thinking. Thank you so much, Mom. She said, anything worth doing is worth doing well. It's what I tell my kids. If they don't do it well, let them go back and do it. And you can tell them to go back and do it without fighting. That's what I like. Yeah, I like my job. I'm like, that socks is not well washed, all right? I've kept your cereal. I brought out your cereal. It's on the table. But go and wash it till you get it. They hurry up and come again. I'm telling you, I'm patient enough because I know I'm building your character. I'm not punishing you. I'm building your character. So I'm committed to that process. But I keep reminding you that I'm doing it because you're a leader. Because you're going somewhere. My girls know that they have a purpose, that God created them on purpose. Their makeup is not a coincidence, and they are going somewhere to make a big difference. And God is counting on me as their mom to build their sense of responsibility as well as their dad, all right? So, you know, if you leave me, we'll keep talking. So this is the part where I remind you that you have a parenting question, you have a concern, you need support, you need accountability, you need coaching, you need anything raising girls. Some of us didn't grow up with these things I'm talking about. We had to create, design, do different things to get to where we are. So I understand when parents feel stuck. I don't know what to do. How do I get this done? It's critical. So reach out to me and let's talk, which is part of why Vivian Okoye and I just came together and say, you know what, let's sit down with parents and talk to them about planning. You want your kids to stop shying away, and you're ready that in 2021, you're going to help your girls pick up. What's going to be the modus operandi? What are you going to do? For instance, what will you do after school to get them talking? What will you do before they go to bed to get them talking? What are the routines that you need? That's why we created One Parenting Plan Away. It's not a workshop type experience. It's a thinking, planning experience. This is where I am. This is where my children are. This is where I would like both of us to be. Oh, Irene, I yell a lot. I don't want that to be my reality in 2021. Let's crack it. What's the program you're running that makes you yell? Excuse me. Where are your children? Your children don't know how to take care of themselves. Wow, Worry Mom, I need to interview you on Girl Story Night. Let's do December. I'm going to be in your DM. I'm serious. Worry Mom is telling me that she grew up as 4 girls before her brother came along. So I want to hear her story. So Story Night that happens every last Friday of the month. We talk about stories, being raised as a girl or raising other girls. So Vivian and I have sat down and said, look, let's help moms. Let's help dads. Let's help parents who want to get a sense, make a sense of this thing. And let's give them blueprints that they used to hold themselves accountable. So can you imagine, as I'm talking to you, I run a school, a non-profit school. So we're teaching, we're fundraising. It's a hybrid. You're doing a non-profit school. So you have the non-profit administration, you have school administration. I'm running that. I run a radio show on Sunday night. I'm parent coaching. How on earth can someone with that reality be a great parent? It's planning, it's structuring. All right. How with this reality am I living without a maid? Sometimes it gets on my nerves, right? But what are we doing? What are we putting in place to get ahead? Because we know that the children have a limited time. Once they clock 18, they're out of our faces. For my first, I have 9 years to go. 9 years to go to bond, to build character, to strengthen character, to test character, to set her free. Do you get? So much needs to be put in place. In fact, I was doing a bit of hiring this season, and I had to have that in mind. You're hiring people to do this, but you want them to be able to stand on their own soon enough. All right. So if you're listening to me and you'd like to be a part of One Parenting Plan Away, the entire bundle in this package is 112K. Yeah, I'm seeing someone else raising 2 girls. All right. The entire bundle of One Parenting Plan Away is 112,000 naira, but we're offering it at 20,000. The class holds December 5th. So if you're listening to me, you'd like to be a part of it, send me a DM. But in the meantime, if you want to just register online, it's very simple. Go to seller.co/one parenting plan away. The link is in my bio on Instagram. Watching on Facebook and YouTube is right there on the screen right about now. Seller.co/one parenting plan away. How do you plan your way to the reality that you want? How do you live your life's purpose? I mean, I'm living my life's purpose, but my children are not paying the price of it. Hey, raising 2 girls, 18 and 14. Oh, my condolences, ma'am. My condolences. May God comfort you and strengthen you and cause your girls to make you really proud. All right? So you're listening to me. You want to come for One Parenting Plan Away, an experience of a lifetime. I promise you, I can bet on it that it's going to be an experience for of a lifetime, because we're going to show you how to hold grip and everything. All right, so you can go online, seller.co/one parenting plan away, or you go pay to the GT bank detail. Super simple. DM me for bank detail. If you're on Instagram, click my link in bio to register online. But if you're on Facebook or YouTube, the bank detail is out there. GT Bank, Vivian Okoye Parenting Academy, 045-220-18278. I look forward to seeing you. So what's happening next? So when you finish paying, you can send a text to any of the numbers on the screen. If you're just listening to me, you want to ask questions, all you need to do is DM me, all right? So What's happening next week? We're coming back for story night. Thank you for coming out tonight. Next week is story night, where we're going to be talking to two people about raising girls. What's their reality? Oh, the network keeps snapping here and again on YouTube. So that's what it's going to be about, all right? So I'm going to be logging out on Instagram right about now so that we don't lose this video, because I think we've exceeded the 1 hour mark. See you guys soon. I'm logging out on Facebook as well in a moment. So see you guys next week. Share to IGTV because I don't want to lose it. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Remember, I look forward to seeing you next week, Friday. I look forward to, we are going to be having an interesting woman and another woman. There are actually two of them. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I look forward to seeing you inside One Parenting Plan Away. So I'm going to be in the comment section responding to as many people as possible. Someone says, I got so much value. Mama says, well done, Irene. Thank you so much for hanging out with me once again tonight. And see you next week on Raising Girls Weekly. Bye-bye.